And welcome back to TJ Chumps in Huber Heights. I'm Chris Collins. To my right, Scott Nagy, the head coach of the Raiders, and Hall of Fame coach Jim Brown. We're here for the next hour at TJ Chumps. Again, next week, just want to remind everybody we're back here at this location off for a few weeks as the teams will be traveling, and then we'll be back on the air at January the 1st at the Fairborn location of TJ Chumps. Wright State men's basketball had their 4-game winning streak snapped at Western Kentucky late Saturday afternoon. The Raiders lose by 18 to a Hilltoppers team. Coach Nagy, that very experienced, and I know you weren't real happy at the end of the game with your team's play, especially the first 3 possessions. They were turnovers, and you just can't win on the road when things like that happen.
No, and I think we only ended up with 12 for the game, so we took pretty good care of the basketball after that. But I think it was just a it was just a microcosm of just how prepared we were to play. You know, we were 2 or 3 minutes into the game before we even got a shot.
Yeah, that's got to be difficult, and they made it difficult too. I mean, you're right. Probably could have played a lot better, but the experience, and Coach Brown talked about that, especially Thompson. He's the transfer from Virginia. Played so much under control, and you look up and he's got 18 points, but defensively they caused some problems out on the wing, not giving you a lot of opportunities, your team, to find some passing lanes and get the ball where you wanted it.
Well, and it wasn't just a problem then. It's really been a problem for us all year. We haven't been a great offensive team. We're only shooting 42%, which is not very good. 31 from 3, which is not very good. 68 or 66 from the free throw line, not great. And so we have to be great defensively. There's 3 things we have to do. We have to be great defensively. We have to rebound, particularly on the offensive end. If we're not going to shoot the ball extremely well, then we better go get it. And then we have to take care of the ball. Now, I think we have done a better job of taking care of the basketball the last 3 games, even though it didn't feel like it in this game because the first 3 possessions were turnovers. But in my opinion, mentally, we really didn't give ourselves a chance to win that basketball game at all. And Coach and I talked after the game and talk about how much experience they have. But we do have experience too, and we need those guys to play for us, play better for us, lead for us better. Both teams played 3 freshmen, and so there wasn't a huge difference in terms of when you talk about age and all those guys. Now I think they do have 4 guys that have played a lot of college basketball and are old. So, but I think to this point we got to be done using that excuse that the teams are more experienced than us.
What's the response been from your players? I assume they had Sunday off and back at practice today?
Yeah, and so I haven't seen them much. We did have yesterday off, and I sat and watched film with all the guys that played, and there wasn't you can imagine just sitting with one coach, the head coach, and watching film when he's not very happy, and so you don't get a lot of response at all.
I could imagine. Well, there were a few positives, at least through our eyes, Coach Brown, with some of the freshmen especially.
I've been involved in games like that as a coach myself, and the way it started, it could have very easily got out of hand big time and been a 20-point deficit at halftime. And what I was impressed with was after the start, where it was difficult for you to get anything. You tried to get it inside, but you just couldn't finish inside. But they kept pecking away, and they finally settled down. And then from the first 3 possessions to like the last 7 or 8, they were solid.
I think we even took the lead there.
Yes,
with about 3 minutes to go, and then we just again fell apart a little bit. A lot of mistakes, Coach. And so many of them. There were so many loose balls, so many tip balls, so many balls. Where they're posting and the ball gets thrown in the air and anybody can get it and we get our hands on it, goes out of bounds that we didn't get. And again, I think that it was just when you have that many balls that happens, I think that it's just an indication that your kids aren't completely ready to play.
Well, and I thought at the beginning of the game, I even said something to you. I never like to use this word, but they looked a little scared at the start of the game. They just looked overwhelmed, but that settled down. They really settled down, and they started to play. And the thing about it, I think the positive thing is that was a good team you played, and they played with them in the first half for a significant period of time, and then it got away from them. But
I guess I've just been doing this long enough, where when we talk like that's how average teams or teams that aren't very good talk. Well, we play with them for a while.
For a while, yeah.
I guess I don't have a whole lot of interest in talking that way, saying, oh, well, we played with them for a while, because that means that they were better than us and they whipped us. And if that's the most positive thing we can take away from it, I don't want to really spend a lot of time being a part of that program. And so This is the whole point. I'm trying to get our players to think completely differently. If our guys are happy with just playing with those guys for a while, then we need new guys. And so I'm trying. I don't want our guys happy with that. I'm not happy with that. And I want them to understand how bothered I am by it. But the only thing that's going to change is when they get completely bothered by it.
Culture, that's what you're talking about. It's changing the culture, of the team, and the program and the players. And that's something I would assume is very difficult, for a coach and a staff to be able to change. But I think being honest with your players, I think, is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't have any problem being honest. I think our guys know that, and we're going to tell them the way that it is. And even when we recruit, we tell them that that's the way it's going to be. And if you have a problem with that, then this probably isn't going to be a good place for you. Now, some people would say, man, that's really not a great way to recruit. But if we find people that like that message, then we have the right kind of kids that we want to coach and that will believe the way that we believe. That Wright State can be a tremendous place to have a great basketball team, and I believe that, and that's why I came here, and I want our kids to believe that. I believe in our kids, and like I said, on the radio after the game, I think I believe in them more sometimes than they believe in themselves, and that's where my highest level of frustration comes in when I see our guys not play to the level they're capable of because they don't believe they can.
Speaking of recruits, and we had an opportunity at the end of the game when we were walking out to the bus. To talk about one of your 4 recruits who have been signed for this coming next season, Skylar Potter, out of Bowling Green. And I know, Jim, you have a funny question about that, but I just want to talk. We talked to him and asked him a question. But really, we look at this kid. I didn't see him play Friday night. Your coach has said he did extremely well. He is very physical. He's a big guard.
And he's only 17. He's put together very well, and he's a high-level shooter. High-level shooter. Really shoots the basketball. And he's probably averaging right now. I think they played 3 games. He's probably close to about 27 points and 14 rebounds from the guard position. We went and watched him Friday night. He had 20 and 10, and it didn't even feel like he hardly played. But he can really put stats together. I mean, tremendous shooter and a great rebounder. From a 6'3" guard position.
Yeah, Coach, we talked to him at the end of the game. I thought this was funny.
Yeah, we were walking out, and I recognized him and went over and introduced myself. And I said, "You played Apollo High School last night?" And he said, Yeah, we did. Well, Apollo High School is a high school in Owensboro, Kentucky. And I said, "Did you know that's where Rex Chapman went to school?" Mm-hmm. And he said, "Oh, I don't know who he is." And I immediately knew the age difference.
Right.
But his friend who was with him said, "Oh, I know who he was. He played at Kentucky." And I said to Skylar, I said, "When you get back, just Google Rex Chapman. You'll find out who he is."
Yeah.
He seemed like a very confident young man also. I mean, in his ability.
Yeah. We're very excited about him. We had another young man that we signed, Grant Basili, Friday night that had 49 and 23 in one game. And so obviously that excites us, to have a big kid and didn't shoot a 3, and so he was getting those points inside and at the free throw line and rebounding the basketball.
Yeah, he's about 6'8", 6'9"?
6'8", very skilled. Our kind of big guy that can really step out on the floor and shoot it as well as post. And
obviously, as somebody too, you talk about when you talk about culture. He wants to come in and he wants to participate and he wants to win and do the little things. That's the thing, Coach. I'm going to ask you about this. You can look at all the numbers you want to, but what about those intangibles that we talk about and the little things that your players are doing and not doing and need to get better at?
Well, those are the winning things, and like I was showing Justin on film today, the easy plays that he made that were such good plays that nobody notices and nobody says anything about, but you show them, where you drive and a guy helps in and you just make a very simple pass. You don't have to make the great play. You make the simple play, and the simple play turns out to be a good 3-point shot for somebody else. Those are the great plays, regardless of what anybody else thinks. What the head coach thinks is the most important thing, and I'm telling you that's what we need you to do is do the simple stuff. When there's a loose ball, get on the floor for the ball. Those are the kind of things that we expect, and certainly, as we've had a chance to recruit one class, and now here our second class, all of those guys that are coming in here understand that that's what we expect.
What about shot selection the other night? It looks like, for the most part, there are probably a few you'd like to have back.
Shot selection is getting better. I think, Jalen's still trying to figure out what a good shot is. He's not shooting a great percentage because he's not taking all good shots, but he's a freshman, and he's trying to figure it out. The thing I like about Jalen is being aggressive. He's not playing afraid. And, I'd like to see him get to the free throw line a little bit more, but at least he is being aggressive, and so we can live with that. I can live with guys making mistakes if they're not tiptoeing around.
You know, speaking of Everett Winchester, Coach, and I know you know this, he's taken twice as many free throws as anybody else on your team.
Well, it's because he's aggressive, you know,
yeah.
and I keep talking about that. You know, it's one of the things I talked to Mark Hughes about today. Mark is such an efficient player, but he's taken 13 free throws in 8 games. That's less than 2 a game. And I think that gives you a small picture of how you're playing. You're not being aggressive enough for us. I need you to maybe make a few more mistakes, but make more things happen. You have 21 assists, 10 turnovers. You're a dang good basketball player. Make more of that stuff happen for us. Be more aggressive.
Yeah, look at his stats, Coach. 48% from the field, 38 from three-point line. He's your best three-point shooter.
And he should shoot 40, and he's capable of it. But all of those stats, you know, he's a good rebounder. He on the ball. He's our best defender, and so there's so many things he does well. I just need him to do it even at another level. Be more willing to make a few more mistakes, because when you're more aggressive, you're gonna turn the ball over a few more times. You may shoot a few, you know, your percentage might go down, but you're gonna shoot more free throws and you're gonna make more things happen for other people the more aggressive you are.
All right, in talking about that with Hughes, for example, or any other player, to be able to. You have to visually look out there on the court and see opportunities when you can drive the ball and maybe not take a jump shot or maybe pass the ball too quickly.
Yeah, I don't know, Chris. I think more so it's how you view yourself. You know, if you view yourself as a good basketball player, you tend to make those kind of things happen. And I think right now we have a lot of guys struggling to view themselves like I view them. And, you know, not only do I have high expectations, but I also see them, you know, capable of doing a heck of a lot more. And so that's what I'm trying to get them to, just the aggressiveness. And a lot of our guys, you know, like I watch Loudon, you know, play kind of passively, and then all of a sudden you get down 20 and he turns into a man. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. How about doing that when the score's tied? You know, that's what we need. We need you to be kind of and I'm careful how I say it, but kind of a jerk out there on the floor when the game starts, not when we get down 20 and then all of a sudden, you know, you start throwing people around. We need you to throw people around when the score's tied.
It's interesting you say that, because we've talked about this many times. You have to have, especially at this level, a little swagger. A little swagger out there that, you know, listen, guys, you know, I'm out here to play and I can beat you.
I guess that's not the words we grew up with, but, I mean, that's what we're talking
in the media.
about. We're just talking about the confidence level, because I guarantee you Western Kentucky views themselves that way. And so why aren't we viewing ourselves that way? What do we have to do to get you guys to believe in yourself? Because there are those teams that just walk on the floor and think they're good. And our guys don't know it yet, and it's clear. It's clear by how we play at home and then how we go on the road. We haven't won a road game, and we talked about this. Average teams can win at home. It takes good teams to win on the road. It takes tough kids. It takes kids that believe in themselves and know when they step on that floor they can win.
Love and Ernsthausen both got in foul trouble, 3 fouls each in that first half. Different mindset. You got to play a little bit differently, but still you need to be aggressive. And you just said Loudon did, even with 3 and then 4 fouls for quite a few minutes where he played more aggressive.
Yeah, and a couple of those fouls just weren't smart fouls.
His fourth foul.
Yeah, I mean, it
foul.
was a bad foul, and so. You know, we want them to be aggressive, but we also want them to play smart. I mean, there's a part of that goes together, and so really Loudon's third and fourth fouls I didn't think were very good fouls on his part, and I thought Parker's third foul was not a good foul, and so, you know, we were frustrated, but I think that having fouls like that kind of go together with your mindset going into the game, and our mindset wasn't right, and so those things tend to happen when your mindset's not right.
Well, he made Loudon made some nice moves inside against some tough kids who were very physical, as you talked about, against Western Kentucky. Early on, you didn't see it, but there were a couple of times where it's almost like he wanted the ball down on the block and he scored.
Well, that would be unbelievable if a guy his size would really want the ball. I mean, that's kind of what we've been trying to get across to him is that you actually want the ball and you want to, you know, shove it in the basket, and then they have to tackle you to stop you from doing it. And you know, I feel like late in the game he got to that level, but we need him at that level right away. We need him to take on a bigger role. You know, he's a freshman in terms of playing, but he's been here a year, so he's a sophomore in terms of his academics, and he understands exactly what we want. I think even in Loudon's position and in Everett's position, those guys can take even bigger leadership roles for us and demand a bigger piece of the pie.
You know, one thing you don't want to hear is potential, and from what I'm hearing from you is you already know these guys. That's why they're here. You just want them to see that they can be good or better than the other people on the floor.
Yeah, and I get tired talking about potential. I mean, I want you at your potential right now, and I think some of these guys, again, it just with the younger guys, it does take some time. There isn't any question, but with our older guys, I feel like they should be there.
I know you've talked about if you could, you'd love to redshirt freshmen, and that's help Loudon Love and Everett Winchester. Could we see some of that next year? I know it's jumping the gun right now.
Yeah, I don't know, but you'd like to be able to say exactly, hey, this is going to be way better. I mean, you can get kids hurt, and you could end up in the same situation where we're pretty thin right now as it is. But as we look forward to next year, we're going to have instead of 8 guys that can play, we're going to have 13 guys that can play and will be competitive. And that tends to take care of some of the things that when you're thin, a coach complains about, like a kid not playing hard or, you turn it over too much, you're doing this. Because at some point, when you want to change things, you just sit a person down and you play somebody else. And I know above all things, a coach complaining and yelling and watching film and doing this, the thing that changes a kid more than anything is the bench. When you put their rear end on that wood, they will change what you want them to change. And if there's a threat that somebody else can play in their position, you'll get them to do what you want them to do. And so, but we're just not to that point right now. I mean, our kids can make mistakes or do things that they know will drive us crazy, but they know they're probably going to get back on the floor. We need to get to the point where we have 13 guys that are threatening that lineup, and you're probably going to play 8, 9 sometimes. But if they know that there's always that person pushing, they better show up and practice every day. They better show up and do what they're supposed to do, or we'll just play somebody else.
Yeah, competition makes your team much better.
Competition makes everything better. It's in my opinion, it's what our country was built on, and I think it's great. I love competition.
All right, stay with us. We're going to go to our first break. You're listening to Coach Scott Nagy talk about Wright State basketball. We'll be back with more from TJ Chumps and Huber Heights after these messages. This is Wright State University basketball.
Hi, I'm Bob Grody, class of 1976 and former Raiders player and coach. Did you know that once you're a Wright State grad, you're automatically a member of the Alumni Association? As a member, tap into the Wright State Network, attend a local alumni event, and earn discounts and special offers. Log on to WrightStateAlumni.com and make the most of your membership. Thank you, and go Raiders.
Along with Hall of Fame coach Jim Brown, we are with the Wright State University men's basketball head coach Scott Nagy. A few more minutes with the coach. We'll be talking to a few of his players here coming up at 6:30. I want to thank everybody for coming out here this evening. Got a full house here inside this room at TJ Chumps in Huber Heights, right off Interstate 70, right next to the Rose Music Center and also the Meyer store here just off State Route 201. Again, we will be back again here at this location next week, and then we'll be off for a few weeks as the team will be on the road, and then we'll be back with the Coaches Show on January the 1st. Coach Nagy, let's talk a little bit about the upcoming opponent. I know you like to take them one at a time. Got a Division II team, Ohio Valley, coming up tomorrow at the Nutter Center at 7 o'clock tip.
Yeah, and I think people like to label, like you even say, got a Division II team. I don't look at it that way. We prepare the same. We've talked about this before for everybody that we play. Now we have a shorter period of time to do it with these guys, but today as we practice, I mean that was the focus, playing Ohio Valley.
All right, not a lot of time, but between that last game with Western Kentucky, got about a day in between because the players were off on Sunday. Then after that, you'll be prepping for Kent State, another home game this coming Saturday. I know you don't look ahead too far, but you remember from last year, you beat them up there.
I don't know anything about Kent State. I don't know what their record is. I don't know anything about them, but I know when we went up there last year, they were leading the country in offensive rebounding. They play extremely hard. They're very athletic. They play at a very high tempo. It's kind of a helter-skelter type game, and I know we did a great job last year going up there and winning against a very good team, a team that went to the NCAA tournament. Yeah. And to go on the road and win that game was really a good win for us.
So something you can turn back on with the players who experienced that victory last year that they can take into this game knowing who they're going to play, and like you said earlier, go out there and know we can beat these guys.
Yeah, I don't. Again, we'll be playing at home. I think our guys are fine there, and we'll play more confidently. And so, I always caution when we play at home that, you can't just think just because you're playing at home you're going to win. I mean, you still have to show up and you have to play hard, and I guarantee you Kent State, after us having gone up there and won, will be certainly ready to go when they come here.
Getting back to Ohio Valley, they're in a 14-team league, and there's some good teams in that league. Finley's in that league. Kentucky Wesleyan, a lot of our older fans would remember our games with Kentucky Wesleyan, but that's a good league. I think
Very good league.
Expanded this year from 7 to 14, but Cedarville is in that league, Ohio Dominican, Walsh, where Coach Huggins coached for several years. That's a really good high-level Division II league.
Yeah, is Tiffin in that league?
Tiffin,
Yeah, they are also.
Tiffin's in that league.
they
It's
are.
called the Great
Great League.
Midwest Athletic Conference. But you look at there's a lot of travel because there's a couple West Virginia schools.
The way I look at it, if a guy's playing college basketball, and I don't care at what level, he's a good player, and you respect everybody you play, and certainly that would be the expectation for us tomorrow.
You coached Division II for a while. Don't you think that when you play at that level, you're going to run into really good guards? At least that was my experience. The guards at Division II are usually very good.
I mean, there's just more guards.
Yes.
It's just like anything else. There's they're just fewer taller people, and if they can walk, then somebody's probably going to take them. And so as you work your way down, there's just a lot more good guards, and they don't all end up at Division I. Some of them end up at Division II, and that could probably are a heck of a lot better than some of the players that are in Division I.
Yep.
That's the way it works out, particularly if they're older kids. And so, at that level, you're going to have a hard time finding the really good big kids, but you can always find good guards.
And when you prepare for a team like this, you don't get a chance to see them all the time. So first time you get a chance to see them is when you play them.
Well, but that's almost anybody we play. Just like even Western Kentucky, we our kids don't really see them play until we get ready to prepare for them. It is harder to find some of the stuff on them, like what they run and film and things like that. But we have enough that we can prepare for them.
Coach, I got a couple more minutes left, and we'll kind of take a left turn here right now. And Coach Brown and I were talking about this because he works. Sometimes he helps out his son, coach the little kids. Playing in sixth grade.
He should. He's a Hall of Fame coach.
He
what
should.
The heck?
I mean, he needs to be at that level, definitely. But he brought up a great point the other night. We were talking about, sometimes, and we're not going to name teams, but sometimes these coaches at this, let's just say, sixth grade level, fifth grade level, have a tendency to maybe focus on themselves and not these kids. They'll go ahead and just hold the basketball, if you're in a zone or something, and they're not really teaching the kids anything. You have any thoughts on that?
Well, I guess I think it's human nature for all of us to think about ourselves, and I try to make it a goal of mine not to make the things that happen with our team and just our basketball team in general, not to make it about me. But there are times I do that, and then generally it's when I'm at my worst and I'm not a very good coach, when my focus is me versus the players. When I talk to the players about that all the time, and so. We could get into that more just in terms of that level, but I think that people like to win. They're competitive. It doesn't matter what level they are. Most people like to make it about themselves.
It's nice to see a smile on your face because remember at the tip-off luncheon or dinner we had that your assistant said, Coach Nagy has told us he's focused on being in a good mood.
What I promised was that I would be more enjoyable to be around this year. And,
well, he has been, hasn't he?
Whether we win or lose, and I guess I don't know. You'd have to ask my players. You got a couple of them out there. Maybe they would tell you that things are the same so far to this point. I don't know.
Well, the upcoming game is Ohio Valley out of the state of West Virginia. Talked about them a little bit. That game is coming up tomorrow night, 7 o'clock tip-off at the Irvin J. Nutter Center. The next up for the Raiders, another home game with the Golden Flash of Kent State on Saturday. Coach, as always, it's a pleasure. We appreciate it. And you were a pleasure to be around tonight.
Well, thank you very much. So were you.
All right, stay with us. We got Ty Wilburn with us and also Adam Giles as we continue from TJ Chumps in Huber Heights. This is Wright State University basketball. welcome back. We are at Huber Heights location at TJ Chumps here at Huber Heights, just off of Interstate 70 and State Route 201, right next to the Rose Music Center and the Meyer store. If you're in the area, we're going to be here for about another 29 minutes from right now. And as we said, we got a couple more players with us from the Wright State men's basketball team with us, and directly to my right, along with in between myself and Hall of Fame coach Jim Brown, is Ty Wilburn. He is guard with the Wright State Raiders. And Ty, first of all, thanks for coming out here this evening. I know it's difficult to be able to juggle your schedule, and we appreciate you being with us here tonight. And I know Coach Brown and I have been talking about this last year, this year. We really enjoy it when you're on the floor. You bring a lot of energy to this team, and you do a lot of things for this team.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me on. And, I just try to do the little things that go unnoticed, get loose balls, get extra rebounds, just things that don't really go on the stat sheet, but all the things that all the coaches preach about, like just winning plays.
Now, not only on the court are you doing well also in practice with your team and helping your team, but doing well in the classroom also.
Basketball is what I do. It's not who I am. Basketball is going to end one day, so I need something to fall back on. So, striving in the classroom is something that I look forward to doing.
Little history from Northwest Indiana, Schererville, Indiana, up near Gary, Indiana, and Valparaiso. And also, you have some history within your family in regard to some professional athletes.
My grandfather played for the Houston Oilers. I had an uncle that plays for the Washington Redskins, I want to say. I have two cousins that play in NFL at this point, and my uncle is in China playing overseas, and he also played for Harlem Globetrotters.
So, how about that? So you have a lot going on there. Hey, how about that? So you've been around, athletics, I'm sure, most of your life.
Brothers. I got two brothers. They played. And then my dad's also was a coach, so I've been around it for a while. So, I think I've been playing since I was like 4, so.
What we were told by the coaching staff, from pound for pound, inch for inch, you are the strongest guy on this team. Look at the number of rebounds that you get. Some of that football in your blood maybe has something to do with that?
Actually, I was a better football player than I was a basketball player. But if you ask my dad, I was a better baseball player.
Okay.
But, I think I agree. If you ever go to a game and you actually see my brother, then you understand why I'm the way I am, because he's really into lifting weights. So every time I go home, it's just he pounds weights on me, and there's nothing I can do about it. So
keep up with him.
I have to keep up with him because how big he is, and I can't let him push me around. Even though I'm the little brother, I got to compete.
Coach Brown, I know you're really impressed with this young man.
Well, I am, and I think you're in. It's a tough situation to come off the bench. You just never know when you're going to get in the game and how much you're going to play. And I think sometimes when you're a substitute, a lot of substitutes that come off the bench, they worry about if I make a mistake, I'm going to come out of the game, and you don't do that at all. In fact, per minutes, you get it done, young man. You really get it done. You look at your stats. You're shooting 56 from the field. You've missed 3 free throws, 80% from the free throw line, and that's what a coach wants out of somebody coming off the bench, somebody that's going to instantly produce. And I just teased you a little bit, and this certainly, I said, do you tease Parker about being out rebounding him? You got more rebounds than Parker.
Actually, my high school coach called me a couple of days ago, and one of my high school teammates plays at Butler. And he was like, you're averaging more rebounds than him, and he's in the Big East. I was like, it's just something that we worked on in high school. But like you said, if I go in the game thinking I'm gonna make a mistake, it usually happens. So just whenever my name is called, whenever I get that opportunity to go in there, I try to produce my best. It's just something that you have to have. Like Coach always preaches, confidence. You have to have confidence in yourself for the coaches to have confidence in you. So if I keep showing him that I have confidence in myself, his confidence will keep growing and my minutes will increase. But every time I go on the court, it's just play hard. Doesn't matter what happens in between those lines. Just leave it all out there, and whatever happens, happens.
Don't you have to kind of treat practice as your game, because that's your chance to show Coach, hey, look, if you put me in the game, this is what I can do. I think sometimes guys that don't start, if they want to play, they gotta do it in practice.
Practice is an important key to any team success, any player success. This is when you get better. This is when you show coaches things that you can do, so that you can be able to do them So, I mean, every day I step in practice, I try to do anything like, if I have to try to take a charge on Big Lou and give up my body, and then that's what I got to do to try to, try to get those extra minutes, those extra loose balls, do those extra things to, to create winning plays.
Well, one thing's for certain: when you go in the game, I mean, just from watching, you're going to get 100%. I mean, some of the plays that you've made, Ty, you had 9 rebounds in one game. There was one play in one game. It was just a spectacular hustle play on your part where you came from outside the three-point line, grabbed a missed shot, and got the rebound and laid it in traffic. It was pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, that's what my dad always taught me. No matter what you do, you give it your all. It doesn't matter, if it's tying your shoes, you be the best shoe tire you can be.
Yep.
Just go out there and compete. With like you said, I have all those people in my family. Like everything is about competing. So you got to be the best. I was the younger brother, so I had to compete to stay.
People giggle about those type of things, but one of the greatest basketball players, arguably of all time, Michael Jordan, I mean, he was competitive at everything that he did, playing cards, playing golf, all of those type of things, little things you don't think about, but that carries over into your game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I just do my best. That's all you can ever ask from anybody is just to do their best.
What's it like for you? Sorry, Coach. What's it like for you? I was just going to ask this question when you're looking for more playing time when that game starts. What are some of the things that you are looking at as you're starting to see the flow of the game? Some things that might help you once your name's called.
Pretty much who's getting hot. Sometimes whoever gets hot, I usually end up getting them. I just how the flow of the turnovers going.
Yeah.
Are we rebounding? Like anything like that, just those hustle plays to, that'll show me where,
Yeah,
when
because everybody's given a scouting report
Yeah.
in the game preparation, and I'm sure you can apply that to what you see once that game begins.
Yeah, I mean, just following what the coaches say. Usually what they say is dead on, move by move, act by act. You just got to study that sheet that they give you before every game and just memorize it.
I'd like to know a little bit about when you were younger. What sports did you play? I know you played more than one, and talk about that. When you started, what sports you played, and then what was the overriding decision to decide it was going to be basketball?
Okay, I started with basketball at 4, then I went to football, and then I played baseball. And for a long time, I never had a break. So at one point, I was playing school ball, AU ball, and then just rec ball with my friends, just have fun. And then I would go right into baseball, and then it would right into football, and it was just a circle. And then when I got to 8th grade, I actually was not going to play football. My 8th grade middle school coach pretty much made me play. He called my dad. He called my dad, and it was either you run cross country or you play football. I said,
You made the right choice there.
I'll play football, and then they made me run track in middle school. I didn't want to do that either. But I actually was really good at it. And they tried to get me to play football and run track and play soccer in high school. And I looked at the coach and said, I don't think I can take all the quick balls coming to my face as a goalie. Yeah. So I'll pass.
And so when was it that you decided, hey, look, I'm just going to stick with basketball?
It started when I was in 8th grade. I started getting recruited by Purdue and all those guys. I had Coach Painter would come to my 8th grade games, and I mean I had other coaches coming as well. I had started getting calls and a lot of mail. So I said I guess I'm pretty good at this, so I continue to work at it.
And then how did you end up at Wright State?
Coming out of Kilgore, Texas Junior College, Coach Chambliss called me when he got the job. He said, we want you here. I mean, we don't really have the money for you at this point, but, he knew me from AAU. He knew, I was on pretty, the #1 team in the country, AAU-wise. So he knew me from there. So it was a great relationship. So I got that call, and I believed in what he was saying and brought me here.
It's all about relationships, isn't it? Not only with your teammates, but also with your assistant coaches and your head coach. What's that been like for you, this year, now going into this year and last year?
My thing is just trying to be more outgoing and more sociable, because I'm really a standoffish guy. I really kind of stay to myself, and I'm a people watcher. I try
Nothing wrong with that.
I try to, campus the scene, be aware of your surroundings. So my thing is, to be more outgoing, more talkative. Like Coach said, more enjoyable to be around. It's things I'm working on.
So it's kind of coming down from the top, isn't it?
Yeah.
For everybody on this team. You talked a little bit with Coach Brown about, your sports and what you were involved in school. What was it like, growing up, for Ty Wilburn, where you were from? What were some of the challenges maybe that you faced? And sports was a great outlet because that kept you busy all the time. Sounds like, anyway.
Just challenges I had was just, not listening to what everyone tells you. Just you can't listen to what people tell you. You have to, just go out there and do it, keep working hard. And that was a challenge I had. Everyone wanted to, always wanted to be in your ear telling you what you should do, what you should do. And surrounding yourself with people that are successful and versus people that are just there for the ride. One of my father's favorite quotes, or two of his quotes, are, "You are who you surround yourself are, and you are a product of your environment." And those are two things that I strive to succeed by. Just surrounding myself with successful people, like the internship I'm doing with Coach Mo and meeting all these new people, and that's what life's about: meeting new people and networking and meeting people that can help you succeed in life. Like as far as I can help you, you can help me, type of thing. Because that's what today's society is about. Who
Sounds
you know.
to me like you've got a great head start because there are a lot of people maybe older than you are that are still learning things like that. For yourself, it's got to be good on your part to be able to at least have your goals and what you want to see fulfilled. And one of those things right now is helping this team, and helping them believe that they can win every game when they come on the floor.
Yeah, it's just if you believe, believe in yourself, believe in everyone around you, it makes it a lot simple to get the things done versus being doubtful and can I really do this? Is this really gonna work? Just go out there and do it. And if it don't work, then okay, it didn't work. Now let's move on and see what else can work for us.
One final question. You talked about in practice, sometimes you have to take the charge from Big Lou or whatever. What was that like, and do you intend on doing that again?
I play football. I like contact, so it doesn't. Ask him if it hurt him too.
All right, there you go. I love it. Great way to end it, Ty Wilburn. We appreciate it. Up next is Adam Giles. We'll have more from TJ Chumps here in Huber Heights. This is Wright State University basketball.
Wright State University is a safe place to study, work, and play. To help keep it that way, we offer you a free app that provides tip texting, personal guardians, a safety timer, a panic button, and a safety profile, all connected seamlessly with Wright State Police. It's called Raider Guardian. After downloading the app from the App Store or Google Play, you can invite family, friends, or Wright State Police to be your guardians and communicate with them within the app as needed. The safety timer sends automatic notifications to your assigned guardians if your safety timer expires. Emergency communication is seamless and discreet. Send tips, photos, or make one-touch calls if you see something suspicious. Finally, if you place a panic call or your safety timer expires, the Raider Guardian app allows Wright State Police to immediately track your location using the GPS in your phone. For further information and contact information, visit wright.edu/RaiderGuardian.
And welcome back. Along with Hall of Fame coach Jim Brown, we are now joined by another member of the Wright State basketball team. Adam Giles is with us here for the final segment at TJ Chumps here in Huber Heights. I want to remind everybody once again, we're back at this location again next week. Great crowd out here tonight. We really appreciate you coming out, as well as next week, come on by again if you're in the area. It's just off Interstate 70, right next to the Rose Music Center and the Meyer store off State Route 201 Brant Pike here in this area. Well, Adam Giles, you think of Giles, you think of that name. There's a lot of connections here with Wright State University. I know your dad, who's here with you tonight, your family, very proud, of what you've been able to accomplish. Miamisburg High School, you were a 3-sport star there, and now you're here as a walk-on at Wright State.
Yep.
Integral part of this team. We thank you for being here tonight. And kind of in a pinch, we found out earlier today that your teammate, Alan Vest, had a scheduled class, and you came in right at the end and able to be with us. We appreciate it.
Yep, thank you for having me. I wasn't able to come last year because of a night class, so it was kind of getting in the way sometimes, but we got to go to those.
Evens out, doesn't it? Well, so the fans, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know we touched on it a little bit. I mean, I look back, I saw some videos. I mean, you talk about you were a big-time star player, not only just basketball, football, and also baseball at Miamisburg.
Yeah, in high school, I had 11 varsity letters. I played baseball and basketball for 4 years, and then I decided to play football sophomore year, and I love that. That was probably tied to basketball for my favorite, but I went to a lot of football camps, and I always thought that would be the sport I'd play in college. Got recruited a little bit by some 1AA schools like UD and Butler and those schools, but didn't work out, and so decided just to go to school as just a student. So I chose Wright State. Like you said, my family, both my parents went to Wright State. My dad's worked here. It's been kind of a family thing for a while. So I went to Wright State, started college, and I was a practice player for the women's team my freshman year of college. So I got to play against them. Kim Demings, she was good.
Yeah, she could play a little bit.
Had to guard her most of the time. That was tough.
Boy, it gave you a tough assignment, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. It wasn't always fun, but just getting to play basketball again and just compete there then. And then the summer after freshman year, Coach Sargent, when the new staff was hired, I played in a grown man open gym with Bob Grant and like some of their colleagues, and that's how I met Coach Sargent, and he reached out to me and brought me to an open gym, and then from there on, joined the team, and now I'm a walk-on.
Adam, it's interesting you say that you are looking maybe going in the football direction. Maybe that's prepared you for what you do in practice now. A lot of contact, again, with one Loudon Love.
Yeah, but Ty talked about how we all have some physical interactions with Lou pretty much every day. On our scout team, we don't have very tall guys. Most of them are on the first team, so I get the assignment of guarding Lou most of the time, and his elbows are sharp, and he's a heavy guy. It's hard to move him around in there.
Yeah, but you do such an integral part, for this team. Also, I remember a game last year, and tell me who it might have been. You probably know. You stole the ball, and you dunked it.
Ohio Dominican.
There you go. See, I knew you would know that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I won't forget that one. That was my first game, my first, not counting the exhibition game, that was my first one getting into. That was a pretty good way to start off the career.
Probably got it on your phone, don't you?
I do right now. Yep.
Listen, don't you have an older brother that played basketball?
I do. He graduated from Ohio State a few years ago. He played basketball at Miamisburg as well. He's now a teacher in Carlisle.
But here's the important question. How old were you when you finally could beat him in one-on-one?
He might argue with this, but I think I could beat him back in about middle school. But
I remember him. He was part of a really good class. Miamisburg had struggled. They hired the new coach, Tim Freeze, who I think is a wonderful coach. I mean, just a wonderful guy and a wonderful coach, your high school coach. But that class, I can remember I was coaching at Northmont at the time, and we played them in the championship game when they were freshmen in a freshman tournament at Kettering. And I remember saying to your coach, Tim, I said, it's good that you got these kids because they're going to be a good group when you get them as, on the varsity. And they were. And now you're 2 years younger maybe? 3 years younger. So you weren't a part of that. But that kind of changed Miamisburg basketball, that group of kids.
Yeah, him and another player, when they started high school, Miamisburg basketball was struggling a little bit, and as they got through the ranks and got up to varsity, they started to improve, gradually getting more and more wins. And then his senior year was my freshman year, and that was the first time we made it to the sectional final that year, and his leadership and the other seniors' leadership and setting a good example for us younger guys really kind of paved the way.
Here's another question, because I was a high school coach for 16 years, and I had guys on my team that played multiple sports, and I always felt for them because there were coaches at the school I was that thought that their sport was 12 months. And so I always felt like the player was kind of caught in the middle because you want to please the football coach, you want to please the baseball coach, and you want to please the basketball coach. How did you deal with that?
It was tough sometimes, especially when the seasons start to overlap. During football, we started to make the playoffs. We got better in football, and so that would eat into basketball season a little bit. And the coaches were saying, when you come back, when you come in, and then when time football ended, we had to go straight into basketball, and probably our first real scrimmage and games were 1-2 weeks away. So we didn't really have a preseason, and then basketball and the baseball is the same way.
Yeah.
I remember one year basketball players had to have their own separate tryouts for baseball because we had already missed the real tryouts because we made a little bit of a tournament run. So that was always tough to balance, but I always loved it. Because I'd play one sport for 3 months straight every day. I'd get tired of it by the end of it, so I'd have a fresh new one, fresh new one to play to start off, and then summer you get a little bit of all three. So you get baseball at the end or beginning of summer, and then football and basketball during the summer. It was a nice balance.
Keeps you busy.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And the time flies, and really it's something you can look back on and you can say, I have no regrets.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of coaches, college athletics, they encourage, kids in high school to play different sports and not just that one. I would imagine burnout could be part of that. And also, you're using different muscle for different sports. And I think it's at that age, I think it's a good thing to do. Obviously, you might encourage that to others.
Yeah, I definitely encourage it to kids, and if they're middle school or early high school, just keep sticking with it. There's no reason to focus solely on one, I think, because there's always need a little break. There's no need to do a single sport year-round, nothing but that. But yeah, like you said, baseball and football are completely different body, like physically wise. Baseball is not really a contact sport, and then football, you're getting beat up every day, and then basketball is a little bit of both. So it was a nice blend of physicality and resting your body, and sometimes and other times.
I really think the most difficult thing is to go from football to basketball, because football, you don't do a whole lot of running, and your practices are very low key. I mean, no pads and stuff like that later in the week. And then you go to basketball, which is up and down the floor like crazy, and people expect you to be in condition when you go but it's not, right?
Yeah, that was always a tough first week or two after football, because you think you're in shape because you play a whole football game and you don't get tired, but then basketball is completely different. It's a whole different beast. But our coach always liked seeing the football guys come to basketball and see how out of shape we really were. And the guys that didn't play football, they'd been going through some fall conditioning the whole time we're playing football, so they're really in shape. And then we get there and kind of shocks the body a little bit, and we're thrown in with the wolves, so to speak.
Yeah.
Adam, you talked how you baseball and basketball early on, and then took up football a little bit later. And correct me if I'm wrong. I read last year you excelled at football as a defensive back, correct? And you made some all-area teams.
Yeah,
I know you're humble. It's hard to talk about it.
I played football in 6th grade, and then I didn't really play until sophomore year again. We got a new coach that year, and he was just talking to all the guys that played other sports and tried to just get the good athletes to come out and join the football team and turn things around. So I decided to play that sophomore year, and they stuck me at receiver and free safeties. I was a little skinnier back then, but yeah, I took the free safety, and I played that sophomore, junior, and senior year, and I made the all-area team for the GWalk all 3 years. So it was a good experience. I love football.
That's saying something, because there's some big schools in that conference. So obviously you excelled in that area. We only have a few more minutes left, but just wanted to ask you about the experience. You talked about it a little bit, being a part of this team. Talk a little bit about what it's been like for you, ever since this has happened, and now you're a member of the men's basketball team.
It's kind of been a shock after freshman year, just only going to class and going back home and practicing with the girls, joining the team and having that camaraderie with the teammates and stuff. That's been great. I live with the guys from the team now, and having that interaction and the friends you make, that's probably my favorite part about it. But like we said, my dad and my parents went here, and we've always gone to games ever since I was little. And I always see like Vaughn Duggins playing and Deshaun Wood. We watch them play all the time, and now getting to be out there and doing warm-ups and getting in the game sometimes, it's a cool experience, like being one of those guys out there now.
It has to be, especially you talk about the relationships that you have, with your other teammates. What's it been like? Now, we've talked to a lot of the guys on the team, and one name that seems to surface more often than others is somebody by the name of Trey Stacy and the kind of character that he is.
He is a character. When he get into games, you guys see how eager he is to put it up and shoot some threes. I sit next to him. I sit right next to him for the whole game, and we're always talking. Well, are we going to get in? Are we going to get in? What are you going to do when we get in? And all this stuff. So he's definitely an exciting guy to be around, and he makes people laugh.
All right, Parker Ernsthausen last week said when he talked about Trey, he said he's a marketing major, and he could sell, Trey that is, anything to anybody.
I think he could. He knows what people want, and he has a way of making them want to get it from him. He's very enticing. He's a funny guy.
And it's great to have that, on a team like that.
Keeps things light.
Coach Brown was kidding with him too a few games ago.
Well, I was. I mean, he is. He's just somebody you like to be around. I mean, he's funny, and I have a lot of respect for you guys because you work hard every day in practice, and you get limited, chances to showcase your talents. And he gets in, and I tell him, what's the over and under on when you're going to get a three up? That's what it is. But he makes them too. He's got a great percentage from three-point range on his career. He may leave as the all-time career leader in three-point shots if they don't have a minimum taken.
Well, he surprised us a few games back where he actually took the ball to the basket.
Yeah, that's what I was teasing him about. I said, you and Parker worked on the same thing this summer, a shot fake.
Yeah, Trey, when I first joined the team and I was asking him about his experiences and stuff like that in games, and he said, actually, I don't think I've ever shot in a two. And, he got in the game against Urbana last year, and he took his first two of his career, and I was glad I could see it.
Well, he's been around Benzinger a long time, so he's probably seen a lot of threes.
Yeah, that's all those guys know, is shooting his threes.
And his dad's at every single game.
Yeah,
I mean, his
great
dad
family.
is a tremendous supporter. We got off the bus over Bowling Green, Kentucky. There was his dad and his younger brother waiting right there. I mean, that's great. I mean, that's just fantastic that he has that kind of support. And you do too, so it's very important.
Yeah, it makes things easier having the support from your family and friends and everybody.
All right. Well, Adam, we really appreciate you spending some time here tonight and filling in for your teammate, Alan Vest, at the last minute. You were fantastic, you and Ty. We really appreciate you being here tonight. And best of luck to throughout the season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And can't wait to see another dunk.
I hope so.
All right. I want to remind everybody again, thank you so much for coming out here tonight. We changed venues at TJ Chumps. We're going to be back here at the Huber Heights location again next week. Again, 5:30 until 6. We'll be with the women's coach, head coach Katrina Merriweather, Coach Scott Nagy coming our way from 6 until 7. And, hey, we may tweet out who are the next players or coaches that will be again with us next week because we always enjoy, this segment. And, again, Adam, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, again, thanks, folks, for joining us here tonight. Hope to see you again next week. Wright State in action tomorrow night at 7 o'clock against Ohio Valley, and then a home game at 7 o'clock on Saturday at the Irvin J. Nutter Center. For Coach Brown and Adam Giles, Ty Wilburn, Coach Scott Nagy, Chris Collins saying thank you for watching. This is Wright State University basketball.